What's up? Welcome in to a rare Friday edition of Hoge Jahns. We don't do many Friday shows.
Live Friday shows.
Well, definitely not live Friday shows, which is why we wanted to make this one special and go live for you guys, since we are doing it on a Friday morning after the schedule release last night, really yesterday morning.
The entire day's a build-up.
Yeah. It's fun. I like it. I like it. And I appreciate everybody who leaks it. It makes our lives easier. Otherwise, we'd be scrambling at 7 o'clock to figure out all the details. We have it by noon. Thank you, Danny Parkins.
Yeah. And I know fans appreciate the leaks because they also get the deals out there. I have Bears fans texting me all the time. Some good friends looking for deals to Atlanta, to Dallas, because a lot of Bears fans travel. Bears fans travel well. We know that.
They did. And the traveling is one of the many things we're going to talk about on this podcast today. Welcome in. We're going to break down the schedule. Follow us on Twitter at Adam Hoge, at Adam Jahns. Make sure you are hitting that subscribe button. If you're enjoying that we're live right now, hit the like button. Help us out. We appreciate that. And, of course, if you're listening to the podcast later on, that's cool, too. We are available wherever you listen to podcasts. Please rate and review the pod. We appreciate when you do that. We'll take some of your questions throughout the show too today, as I see comments are already flying in. But to be honest, Johns, I could spend this whole hour just breaking down the Los Angeles Chargers schedule video. I don't know that our fans want that, but it's kind of what I want to do because that's one of the best social media videos I've ever seen. And I don't even think that's overreacting. That's how good it was.
No. I was not aware. Oh, I knew they had this great video, but I did not watch it this morning, literally 10 minutes ago. And the Urban Meyer Jaguars part nearly had me in tears. I am 100% serious about that. So if you've not seen the video produced by the Chargers, which is the envy of all social media departments, for teams, not just the NFL, but by other teams as well. You have to check it out.
It's so good. And I feel like the Chargers win this every year. Our producer Kent used to work for the Cowboys, and he was telling us how big of a deal, and you can see some of it on the screen right now if you're watching on YouTube. But he was telling us how big of a deal this is for the social media departments in the NFL. And it's a big competition. And the Chargers just knocked this one completely out of the ballpark. I've watched this the Urban Meyer part, which the subtlety of it is what's so good. You have to watch this. There's the Browns part, redacted on advice of our lawyers, which is also hilarious with the whole Deshaun Watson thing going on. The Broncos, you may have missed it, but Mile High Stadium was on fire a few weeks ago
because they let Russ cook.
They let Russ cook. There's a very subtle 28-3 reference for the Falcons part of the video. I've watched this at least 5 times, and I still don't feel like I've noticed all the jokes in it. That's what's so good. There's even a Bears connection because they play the Chargers play the Cardinals.
There it is.
There is the L Bean. They put remember when they tried to turn the Chicago bean into an L with a cardinal on top, and it looked like
okay, you said it.
Yeah, it's what it looked like.
It looked like a penis. Yeah.
So, just
for the win. Not that the Bears video was bad with all the balls thrown in the bucket. The Falcons had the one with I don't know what you call that, with the domino effect. I like the creativity, but the Chargers won the schedule release Twitter video.
It was so good. I could seriously just break the whole thing down for an hour, but we're gonna break down the Bears schedule instead. But shout out to the Chargers; they deserve it.
Yeah, I think well done. It'd be well said.
Exactly, it was well done. It was well done. All right, you have already made your season prediction.
I did.
In The Athletic. I saw that. I was surprised at how what did you have, 6-11?
6-11.
Okay. We went through this on our CHGO show last night, and I ended up with 8-9 and immediately hated it. I think 7-10 is my actual meaningless May prediction. But maybe we should go in again. Let's see.
Well, 7-10 is like the new 7-9.
Yeah.
You're being nice. That's
I'm
like
trying
that.
to be nice.
Yes. I think the question I have for you, I always have this thought when I'm going through the Bears schedule, is how many wins I could talk myself into for the Bears.
Yes. So, and I think that's what ended up happening is we're going to kind of go through this, but there's like a handful of toss-up games. And I realized we actually talked through it on our show last night. I pretty much gave the Bears W's in all of those toss-up games, which is not realistic. But I didn't really realize that until you kind of go through the whole thing. But anyway, I don't know that we have to go through this completely game by game, but we can. I think, well, we might as well do it quickly.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. The 49ers, week 1 at home. Already a 6.5 point underdog, the Chicago Bears are.
Which is surprising since we don't know who's playing quarterback for the 49ers.
And that's where I'm like, well, let's, maybe check this once we get to September, actually. But right off the bat, I'm like, I could see a lot of logic in hammering the Bears at plus 6.5.
Yes, but doesn't mean they're going to win.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you got the element of surprise with your offense. You don't know who's playing quarterback for the 49ers. I think the 49ers are a better team, but 6.5 points with all the unknowns right now, I would not blame anybody for already putting money on the Bears to cover that.
Yeah, as the home team, I would take that bet right now. Actually, go take that bet right now.
And I'm picking the 49ers to win, though.
Yeah, so am I.
So let's throw the L's up there. Thank you,
Ken's
Ken.
keeping track. And I gotta make the 6 and 11 come to fruition here.
Well, and I'm going to do the opposite. I'm just going to do this like I didn't make a prediction yesterday. I want to see if it comes out at the same.
Okay.
So Packers, week 2. Love the September Packer game, by the way, up in Lambeau. With our luck, it'll be pouring rain, but at least it won't be freezing. And it's, of course, on Sunday Night Football, like it always is up there. So Bears, Packers. Sorry, gotta go with the Packers.
It's an L.
Okay.
Or that upside down penis looking like bean.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what we're going with.
I mean, that thing is just legendary now that the Cardinals did that. So at least something good came out of it. All right, the Texans, week 3, Lovie Smith. I talked about this last night, Johns. This will be a game that gets zero attention nationally, and deservedly so. Locally, there's some fun storylines here. You got Lovie Smith. You got his defense versus Matt Eberflus's defense, the influence there about how the head coaches know each other. You also have Davis Mills, who was part of that same quarterback class. He's the guy everyone forgets who actually was pretty decent last year playing for the Texans against Justin Fields. So, I think even though this isn't the sexiest game in the world, it's kind of a fun one in week 3, at least here in Chicago.
I don't think Lovie was good in his revenge games against Mark Trestman, was he?
Yeah, I feel like I just blacked that whole era.
That is another era of Bears history, but I believe that Mark Trestman beat Lovie Smith. So I think Matt Eberflus could do the same.
I think you're right. I mean,
go ahead. Keep talking. I'll look it up. What's that? 20.
Those Bucks teams were not very good.
They weren't good at all.
Remember, he sat out a year and then came back. So I think he was there in 14 and 15. So they would only met in 14 if it was against Trestman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Lovey, how you doing?
Hey, Lovey!
Hey, Lovey!
How's everybody doing?
We're going to have to bring the conference calls back just for that. For week 3.
Yes.
Against Lovie Smith.
So,
anyway,
Mark Trestman's Bears did beat Lovey's Tampa Bay Buccaneers 21-13 in 2014. That was their last win of the season before Mark Trestman got fired. Fun facts.
That was his last win, you're saying?
Last win. Then there was a bunch of losses.
Yeah, and things went very poorly. All right, I'm gonna give the Bears a W here, though.
Same.
Okay. Week 4 in New York. There are 2 trips in New York. One of the very few interesting things about this Bears schedule, I got to say, it's kind of a boring schedule this year. Can I say that? There's no London game. There's no Vegas game. There's no Hollywood trip. You get to go to New York twice if you're into that. I love New York. I'm actually going to New York next weekend. I'm taking James to the White Sox-Yankees game.
So you are into that. if you look at this game, you have what? The GM search storyline,
Yeah. Brian Dable, Joe
head
Shane.
coach search storyline. I'm taking the better quarterback. Win for the Bears, Justin Fields.
Okay.
Did you think I was going to say Daniel Jones?
I don't know. No, I did not think you were going to say Daniel Jones. Otherwise, I think everybody would have kicked you off this podcast.
Fair.
Yeah. I'm going to go W as well. And part of it's also the recent history between these two teams. Like the Bears have played the Giants well, even when they haven't been that great. So, and I have more faith actually in the other New York team right now than I do the Giants. So, all right, Will, we're in agreement. 2-2 so far. I still don't think this next game's real, Johns.
One quick point here. If you're 2-2 at the quarter point, or whatever you want to call it with the 17-game season, 2-2, you're happy with it if you're Matt Eberflus and company.
Yeah. All right. An October game, an early October game in Minnesota.
Another benefit of this schedule.
What is going on?
It's not the end of the year, New Year's Eve game where it's -5.
You and I have both been covering this team for over a decade. We have never covered a game in Minnesota, at least a Bears game. I've been up there for Northwestern games. We have never covered a Bears game in Minnesota in September, October, or November.
Really?
Yes.
I've been up there for one relatively mild game, but that may have been in December.
I think it was still December.
But mild.
I mean, unless I'm totally forgetting something, I'm pretty sure that has not happened, which is just crazy. Anyway, this is a noon game. Bears, Vikings. I'm picking the Vikings.
Same.
Yeah. A weird part about this is same storylines, GM, head coach changes, connections with the Bears. And yet, as I look at that matchup right now, Johns, I'm like, it seems like it's going to be a normal Bears-Vikings game. Like Kirk Cousins still out there. The Vikings actually seem to be doing a lot of the same stuff, even with their new regime.
Well, they're running it back with Kirk.
Yeah. Your guy.
My guy. This
is a stretch, by the way, of 4 out of 5 games on the road the Bears have.
Not easy.
Not easy. The one home game is a Thursday night game, so a quick turnaround, too, from Minnesota. The Washington Commanders come to town on Amazon Prime.
I don't know if what would you say about this one last night?
So I gave this one a W, and then my co-host on that show, Nicholas Moriano, brought up a really good point about how good Washington's front 7 is, specifically the front 4. Now, the Bears will have had 5 games at this point to figure out what the hell is going on in their offensive line. But that is a matchup that I still worry about the more and more I think about it. So,
well, what you could have is a situation at right guard where Sam Mustipher starts the first 3 or 4 games of the season. And now at this point, he's replaced by Zach Thomas or somebody currently not on the roster. I'm going to go loss.
Yeah. I think this is the one of the games.
I think it's going to be like an ugly game.
Yeah. Plus that stretch of being on the road and it's a short week.
But if I have to rank games where you could talk yourself into wins.
Yeah.
There's one thing I've learned about the Bears. This is a game in a different year, maybe with a more seasoned quarterback, maybe with less uncertainty at certain positions. Like, I would talk myself into picking the Bears into this one.
Yeah,
I'm not doing that this year.
Kent, give me the W on that one. I'm going to stick because, as a couple of our commenters have pointed out here, the Bears still have a quarterback advantage, I think, in this game.
It's fair.
Although it is possible, Carson Wentz can be very streaky. He could be going through a good stretch at this point. But I'm going to take Justin Fields. This also feels like one of the candidates where if Justin Fields suffers an injury this season, it could be in that game.
Okay.
Obviously, we hope that does not happen. Now, this is a mini bye. The Bears' actual bye week does not come to week 14, but this is kind of a mini bye where they're going to have some time off between the Thursday game they play and then their next game's not until a Monday nighter. So they get some time off there to regroup, and they're probably going to need it because 2 straight road games follow in this tough stretch. They go to New England. It's Mac Jones versus Justin Fields. Will DeWitt brought up last night the Bears have never won a game. Never won a road game against the Patriots, with the only exception being the Super Bowl, which was in New Orleans. But they were technically the road team for that game. That's crazy.
We all remember the Lamar Houston game.
Well, right. I mean, the 50 burger that went up.
Yeah. Ugly game.
Got to celebrate that sack, though.
Busted at ACL. Lost.
Yeah, I'm going with the Patriots in this one. Sorry. I just can't talk myself into that. So they go on the road now to Dallas. Tough offense. Matt Eberflus returns to Dallas. The Cowboys. What are you thinking in this game?
I want to give the Bears an upset at some point on this schedule.
Ooh, I mean, it's good. Well, yes, it's going to happen.
Like this,
they're going to lose some game they shouldn't lose, and they're going to win at least one game that they probably should get blown out in.
So my debate, truthfully, is either this Cowboys game on the road or the Packers later at home. Rivalry.
All right. Well, my advice to you is to go with the Cowboys.
Okay, that's fine. So
to go with this being the Bears upset against the Cowboys.
Okay, then let's give the Bears the road win here over Dak Prescott, all those guys in Dallas. Give them the W.
All right.
Sorry, Kent.
Yeah, I kind of want to hear Kent pick this game too from the other side since he's the Cowboy guy. I'm going to go with a Bears loss though. So, all right. This is the game I think I'm going to flip on from when I originally picked this. But November 6th, the Miami Dolphins come to town. And I originally gave this as a W, which it felt hard to do with my guy Mike McDaniel now running the Dolphins down there. And I think it was just like kind of the lack of confidence I have in Tua Tagovailoa. But then the more I thought about it, like, I think you really got to put some emphasis on what the Dolphins did in the second half of last season. They were supposed to be better. And now they've added Tyreek Hill to that offense. I know there was that whole video of Tua underthrowing him in practice.
I was going to mention that. A video that they were trying to celebrate. And they had to edit out the underthrow.
Yeah.
It's not Patrick Mahomes anymore there. Cheetah. Again, maybe one you could talk yourself into. I really don't know how good they're going to be.
This is a hard one to pick now in May.
I'm going to go loss right now.
Yeah, I had this as a W yesterday, and I'm flipping it to a loss. I think, yeah. And, Ken, I had the Cowboys game as a loss, not a W. So I guess I have them on a 3-game losing streak at this point. That's got to be the toughest part of the schedule, right? Right in there.
Yeah.
With all those road games, and you got
different types of opponents.
You're going to start to get beat up at this point in the season, too, because your bye week's not till later. You're into November at this point. That's tough. So, but it's always good when the Lions show up on the schedule.
True.
November 13th, the Fighting Kneecaps come to Soldier Field, and I'm picking the Bears to win.
Same.
How many games at this point do you think the Bears are favored in? Texans,
and maybe this Lions game.
Yeah, I feel like
maybe Washington.
Depending on what happens in the first 3 weeks, maybe against the Giants in New York. Maybe against Washington. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to pick those games right now.
At this point in the schedule, I would say maybe definitely 2.
Okay.
Texans and Lions.
All right. November 20th. Spider-Man gift. The Atlanta Bears versus the Chicago Bears. Who you got? They got Nick Kwiatkowski now.
No, don't care.
Yeah, I don't care, Mitch. I'm going to say win.
Ooh. Okay. I honestly cannot remember if I made this a win last night. I think I did. I think I did because here's a big question I have in this game. Who's playing quarterback for the Falcons by late November?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Is it Marcus Mariota? Is it Desmond Ridder?
Desmond Ridder.
And do you like Desmond Ridder?
Did the NFL really like Desmond Ridder?
I feel like Desmond Ridder's having a lot of problems in the NFL as a rookie.
Well, especially, as a rookie. And Marcus Mariota has been Ryan Tannehill, so could be favorable for the Bears at this point.
I'm taking the Bears too.
I think at this point you're hoping to see some significant progress from Justin Fields.
Yeah.
I just want to add this to the part of the conversation. Even with losses, you want to see higher completion percentages. You want to see passes completed over 20-plus yards. You want to see scrambling, but completing passes down the field while scrambling. You see the RPO game working. I'm interested to see at this point, early November, mid-November, how efficient the offense is with Justin Fields. And I think it'll be better at this point because I think they got some favorable matchups defensively.
We both have them at 5 and 6 at this point in the schedule. Based on what I read in The Athletic, theathletic.com/Hoge Jahns, this is going to be a miserable ending to the season.
Are you ready?
So buckle up, Bears fans. November 27th, this will be Thanksgiving weekend. We are thankful there is not a Bears game on Thanksgiving. Instead, it's another trip to New York. The New York Jets. I kind of like what the Jets are doing. I'm still a believer in Zach Wilson. They've given him some more talent around him. I'm picking the Jets to win this game.
I'm giving the Bears the L.
Yeah. So we're in agreement there.
Yeah.
Well,
I just don't think they can win both games in New York. It sounds simple enough.
So we have them split in those two games.
It could be hard to win on the road, regardless of how good you are as a team.
Yeah. All right. December 4th, Packers come to Soldier Field. You were talking about this potentially being an upset. Then you went with the Cowboy game instead. Well, I'd like to hear, even if you end up picking the Packers here, I'd like to hear your logic though on why this could go the Bears' way.
Rivalry, the hits philosophy come into fruition. Maybe an injury to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, don't forget they have questions at receiver too. There's some serious questions about the legitimacy of their contendership. I mean that. They may be the best team in the NFC North, but where they fit amongst the better teams in the NFC, and especially the rest of the NFL, I don't know. But they still got Aaron Rodgers. He does things that still
Aaron Rodgers.
He's still pretty darn good. Maybe Christian Watson emerges as a threat by now. You want to talk yourself into feel-good wins. And a win over the Packers would be a feel-good win. Like, I just think if John Fox could beat the Packers on Brett Favre's homecoming night, maybe Matt Eberflus has an upset in him against the Packers at Soldier Field.
Probably not.
Yeah, that's why I went with the Cowboys. So another loss for the Bears.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Packers. It is interesting, though, Johns, all this talk about, bringing back the good old days, the Lovie Smith days, all that stuff. We have not heard anything from Matt Eberflus on how they're going to beat Green Bay. Remember, Lovie Smith came in and
all
made
about that. Yeah,
the top goal. We're going to beat the Packers. And for a while there, it worked. In fact, the only stretch really in the last 30 years that the Bears have had any success against the Packers was when Lovie Smith came in here. I think they won 7 out of 10. They had a stretch of 10 games against the Packers where they won 7 of them. And then that started to fall off, and then he got fired. So I just kind of realized that Matt Eberflus hasn't said much about that. That's got to be an emphasis. So we'll see. But I'm going to go with the Packers.
Go Bears.
Yeah.
That strikes me as a game where it goes pretty well for the Bears for like 2.5 quarters.
And then Aaron Rodgers happens.
And then there's like a bad turnover or, an extra possession somehow belongs to the Packers. And there's a 14-point swing. We've covered so many of those.
Yeah.
You know how it goes.
All right. Bye week. Finally in December. How are you going to spend your December bye week?
Maybe go somewhere warm.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. might as well at that point. All right, then they'll return home 3 of the last 4 games at home in Chicago. So, actually, I should have said 4 out of 5. Wow, congrats. That sucks for season ticket holders. 4 of your home games are in December or later.
Yeah.
Ugh. That's brutal. And they might not be that good at that point. Oof. All right. Well, the Eagles come to town.
Are the Eagles good?
I don't think the Eagles are bad. Like they kind of impressed me last year what they were able to do in that first season under Nick Sirianni. You know how I feel about Jalen Hurts. I like him. I don't love him. This is a game that could go either way.
I think the Eagles at this point in December will have more to play for just because of their division. Now, the Bears division isn't really good, but I feel like the NFC East is always up for grabs. Always. Especially if the Cowboys aren't very good and they let it slip away again. So I think the Eagles have more to play for, and that shows a loss for the Bears coming off their bye week.
Yeah. I think wait, so you're picking the Bears to lose?
I'm picking the Bears to lose.
I think this might be another one I flip on because I still have to pick the game that they win unexpectedly. That makes sense?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think just so much of this is we don't know what. There's so many questions about the Bears, and there's
a
less
lot of questions about the Eagles.
Yeah, more certainty though in some positions.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Bears in this one, just sort of a hunch. Because I think I'm going to change one of my other ones later that into an L that I had as a win before. But yeah, we'll take the Bears to beat the Eagles. Then Christmas Eve, the Bills come to town. Josh Allen is one of the games I'm actually looking forward to, but not necessarily because I think it's going to go well for the Bears. But like a cold December game between the Bears and Bills sounds right.
How would you like just to cover a high-scoring affair? The Bills have a great defense. I know that. But where Justin Fields has this breakout game against a really, really good quarterback who is in the MVP discussion at this point. That's what I want to see. It's like having realistic expectations.
Yeah.
Like at this point, right before Christmas, you would hope Justin Fields feels good about himself. The Bears feel good about what he's doing. The offense, again, has more efficiency, more explosiveness. This is a great game where Justin Fields can make a statement. I'm not saying the Bears win. Again, holes in that defense, young players in that defense. But you want to see tangible progress from Justin Fields at this point, especially playing against another marquee quarterback. Another loss for the Bears, but that's what you're looking for. More progress from number one.
Yeah, and I think at this point in the season, that's you better be seeing that regardless. And I'm trying to look here. The Bears have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins at this point. Like technically, they'd still be in the hunt going into this game against the Bills. Technically, they'd be on
exactly
those
what they want you to think.
They would be in the hunt.
Those graphics.
Yeah. So
question the mule here. No, I don't always hate the Bears' chances. That is not true whatsoever.
If anything,
yeah,
we give them the benefit of the doubt too much, probably.
Yeah, I'm probably guilty of that. Again, I'm trying not to talk myself into Bears wins, knowing they don't have a starting right guard, knowing they could be starting 2 rookies in the secondary, as good as they are, knowing they have they help off the edges. I'm not expecting another great year from Robert Quinn, at least not to that sack total. knowing that they're relying on the 71st overall pick to be a significant contributor offensively, there's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking myself into unnecessary wins at this point. Realistic expectations.
I think a competitive game on Christmas Eve, though, against the Bills with some points scored.
A fun one.
Yeah. Would be
You
good.
want to see Fields perform well against Josh Allen.
Yeah. That being said, give me the penis-shaped bean and the L for the Bears.
Buy me some peanuts and cracker jack.
All right, New Year's Day in Detroit. How you think about couldn't escape a holiday in Detroit, huh?
No.
It's almost like the Rose Bowl. Just one step below being in Pasadena on New Year's Day. Ford Field.
Yeah.
Bears, Lions. What do you think on this one?
Lions win.
Ooh.
Lions win.
So this is... You have the Bears at this point on a 5-game losing streak. I do. And I'm like trying to see... I'm trying to like picture some progress here. And I also think the Lions, which I've already saw on social media last night, trendy pick to make the playoffs. Come on. You're going to fall into that trap again?
I'm not. I'm just saying the Lions could.
I'm not accusing you of this. I'm accusing the people I saw on social media already doing this. It was like 2 years ago. It was just 2 years ago that the Lions were a trendy playoff pick. And then by week 4, I think their head coach was fired.
Yes.
Okay. Come on.
I just think at this point in the season, you could have 2, 5, or 6 win teams, competing for their 6th or 7th win.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a field goal at the end that does it. I don't know, 28-27, Lions.
This is the one I was gonna flip back to a loss, but I think I'm gonna stick with it. I think I'm gonna stick with the Bears W.
Okay.
Bears W. They win. Feeling some progress here to finish the season. In the hunt. Maybe. Probably not. January 8th. A game against the Vikings to end the year, but this one's in Chicago. Unlike the usual January trip to Minnesota. Are you giving them a W here?
I
You
am.
must be.
I am.
Okay.
Classic Vikings, competitive to the end of December, and they fall out and don't make the playoffs again.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Just a dud to end the year.
Yep.
All right, I guess I'm gonna stick with the W too. Keeping with that theme of progress from Justin Fields, the offense kind of coming together. I think in the end I still had 8 and 9, right? Can I count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9?
Mm-hmm.
And you're still at your 6 and 11?
11.
I was a math major. I wasn't actually, but
So in your situation of 6 and 11, with a 5-game losing streak right before beating the Vikings, like I don't know how good people are feeling about everything.
Well, I guess it depends on what happens in those losses, right?
Yeah.
If you lose to the Packers in a last-second field goal, and Justin Fields throws for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, do you feel good about that? Do you start to root for you see the progress from Justin Fields, but now I could get a top 10 pick here.
Yeah.
You see the fireworks between Justin Fields and Josh Allen. You feel good about that. But you know what? Oh, we still got holes in our secondary. These young guys need the experiences. We may need another pass rusher. Can you feel good about that? You can feel good about what Justin Fields does. Feel bad about the loss, but then be optimistic again about getting a top 10 pick.
I guess
hate
what I'm
for draft picks, but I'm just trying to be serious about where the Bears are personnel-wise.
No, I gotcha. I just feel like maybe I'm overrating the defense, but I feel like if Justin Fields takes that step where you're feeling good about it, the defense is going to keep you in enough games that they're going to screw around and win a couple of those. that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
this isn't a situation where you have a good young quarterback, but the defense can't stop anybody.
Now, can I vent about making season predictions in May?
Oh, sure. Yeah. You could
Yeah.
discredit this entire podcast.
Oh,
Go
no,
ahead.
it's all right. No, but there's certain things, like if you want an optimistic take, if Justin Fields takes the steps needed, then I would add a couple more wins to the Bears total.
I think that's where I'm at 8 and 9.
Yes. If Kyler Gordon, Jaquan Brisker have rookie transitions that aren't choppy, that aren't bumpy, or at some point all those bumps smooth out, they start making plays like the Bears think they can and other people around the league think they can, then yes, I could see a win produced by the defense 100%, but they're still rookies.
Yeah.
That opinion of mine could change by November when Kyler Gordon's maybe in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. Optimistic take. But again, that's what you expect out of a guy drafted 39th overall. That's how I just view top 50 picks. You want starters in day one, so he's going to have the opportunities.
Now, in the scenario I just painted, where they win 3 out of their last 4 games, finish 8 and 9, have a boatload of cap space and a first-round pick again, that's actually going to go the opposite way, in which people are probably going to be overrating the Bears going into 2023 because they're going to all of a sudden be the trendy team to take off. Oh, look at the Bears. They finished strong. They got all this cap space.
See, I think that depends greatly on what you see from Justin Fields this year. I think the guy, just by playing his second year, is going to improve. We talked about this last podcast with Nate Tice. Just being the guy from the start is going to be significant.
So I feel like I'm on an island here because it's not just you I've had these conversations with, but do you think the secondary is going to be better?
Yes, but it's got to be relative to like almost who they're playing and stuff like that. You know, like I think they eventually can be better, but I would expect them.
Dude, they were awful last year.
I know, and they still finished with the top 10 defense. I get that.
That's what I'm saying. To me, the secondary is definitely better. Do you think the defense overall is going to take the ball away more?
But do you think Brisker and Gordon are going to have their share of rookie mistakes where they look like rookies?
Sure, but Eddie Jackson's doing that as a 7th-year pro at this point. You know what I mean? They were already doing that before. Yes, there's going to be those moments. As a unit, do they take the ball away more?
Ooh, I don't know yet.
I just think they
want to see. I just want to see what the pass rush can produce.
Well, sure, but I'm not saying all of a sudden they're going to be like the 2018 Bears and have 38 takeaways or whatever. But I do think that this style of defense and what they're emphasizing leads to more takeaways.
That's fine, but you still need the players to do it. And I don't know if the pass rush is going to be there to produce it.
Yeah, see, I think I don't. This is where things get tricky because I don't disagree with you. I have major questions about the line up front. I think we're overrating what they had before, at least last year.
Which is fair. Because actually, I think I've said fair a few times this podcast because I've questioned Khalil Mack more than anybody else, I think.
Yeah, and he only played 6 games last year and wasn't himself when he was playing. So, yes, they traded away Khalil Mack. On paper, that sounds like the Bears defense is immediately worse. They didn't have Khalil Mack last year. They didn't really have Khalil Mack, the last 2 years.
That's the point I wanted to make, too.
So, now, when Akeem Hicks was healthy, I don't – this is where I say it gets tricky because I don't know that they've replaced these guys. I guess I'm just saying I don't know that it's going to be worse up front. And if the secondary is better and they're taking the ball away a little bit more and the quarterback plays better, to me it all adds up to a team that's at least at 6 wins, which is where they were last year. And maybe they steal a game or two because the quarterback's better. That's all I'm coming from.
Okay. No, I agree with that point. It's what you want to see. It's hard to measure progress when the wins and losses aren't there because you want to see Fields' progress turn into that fourth quarter, 90 seconds on the clock, moves the ball down the field for a field goal or touchdown. You want to see that type of progress. You want to see situational progress, right? End the half, those type of situations. You want to see him produce points. They need to score more points. And until I see what they really are in training camp and what they can do, in the preseason, early in the season. I'm not sure how many points the Bears can actually score. This being said, that I do think Justin Fields is going to make some realistic, concrete growth this season. Statistically, eye test, all that stuff.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. That better happen. By the way, Khalil Mack did have 6 sacks, not 8 sacks, as the commenter said. 6 sacks in the 7 games he played in, but one of those games he barely played in because he got hurt. You take a sack a game, sure, but I don't know that
He's still a player that opposing offenses significantly account for.
And I think he's going to be fine for the Chargers. Like, I think that was a trade that made sense for both teams. We were on record of saying that at the time. But, all right. Well, that was fun. All right, real quick. I did have a couple other things. What is your favorite game?
Favorite game?
On the schedule? Just like personally.
See, I like favorite. And you mentioned this before. Like, we're not up in Minnesota in the cold.
Yeah.
We're not up in
and it
Green
can be
Bay in the
selfish
cold.
like that.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Because we've done that so many times. Like coming out to your car in the Green Bay parking lot where you got frost all over it. You're going to wait for your car to defrost. We don't have to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice. Wisconsin's pretty. I've lived there. It's nice in the fall.
I was going to say, like, so what did you?
That's it.
Another the Packer game at Lambeau.
The Packers and the Vikings game. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
The
game you're most looking forward to. Yeah.
Well, that's just a selfish thing because I've gone to those places so many times in the dead of winter.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with you too. I think
well, you don't have a game in like Las Vegas this year.
I just really like going to Lambeau. So the fact that it's going to be probably a nice evening, ideally, yeah. Give me the Lambeau game. Is it the game I'm most looking forward to?
Okay.
What's the best game on the schedule? Like maybe the best matchup.
I'm gonna go to the Bills game.
Okay.
Only because I think Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks playing right now. And at that point in the season, you hope there is a lot of signs of growth from Justin Fields where they could put on a show. Some type of show where he answers the boxing match that exists between quarterbacks. Even though they say they're not playing against each other on the field, we all know there's some type of rivalries that exist between quarterbacks. It would be nice to see Justin Fields step up an occasion like that, even in a noon game against one of the best quarterbacks in the game.
I think the obvious answer is August 13th, Matt Nagy's return to Soldier Field, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Preseason. Nagy revenge game.
It's like that went overlooked yesterday completely. They sneaked the preseason schedule in there, and it's Matt Nagy's first football game back at Soldier Field.
You think you'll be in the booth or on the sideline to hear it from the fans?
You might want to put him in the booth. Although those coaches have to be on the concourse to get into that coaching booth. It's a brief,
yeah, but the way they
step off the elevator,
around,
you gotta get.
It's true, but they're moving. They're moving. You might get a couple of jeers. I mean, it's either he hears it momentarily as he's leaving the elevator and walking down a stairwell, or he hears it incessantly while he's on the sideline.
There was a funny moment last year because I was doing those pregame hits for WBBM. So I'm over. I think I was leaving the booth to go back downstairs, and this man stops me, and he goes, "Sir, do you know how I get to the coach's booth?" It's Anthony Lynn.
Really?
Former head coach of the Chargers, who was on the Lions coaching staff. I don't think he finished the year with them, though. Did he? Yeah, but they were playing the Lions, and it was Anthony Lynn, and he had no idea where he was going, and he was all by himself.
Well, the setup of Soldier Field is different than other stadiums because the coaches aren't exactly in the press box like they are, again, other stadiums.
Yeah.
They're opposite the press box.
So, yeah, it's very confusing. I'm going to actually go with the season opener against the 49ers. I think it's a game that the Bears can win. You're going to have the element of surprise. You get the excitement of it being Matt Eberflus's first game. What's Luke Getsy's offense going to look like? How is Justin Fields going to look? The weather's going to be nice. Robbie Gould's coming to town. Is it Trey Lance? Is it Jimmy Garoppolo? We've seen these teams go against each other. The Bears almost beat the 49ers last year. They were in that game, in the game that was coached by Chris Tabor. I think just in terms of like the best game, storylines, all that, it's the season opener. I'm going with that one.
Okay.
So to recap that conversation, best game week 1, favorite game week 2. Get those out of the way.
Lots of weeks after that.
All right, what's the best road trip? And I guess we'll have to take Green Bay out of it because that's an option every year. I think that's like kind of the go-to game this year because it's the time of year that the game is. But besides that, what's the best road trip for Bears fans?
I don't know how Bears fans are out there, but I rate best stadium. It's going to be in Arlington, Texas. But in terms of like convenience, like where you want to stay, what you want to do beyond the game, maybe Atlanta.
Yeah.
Maybe Atlanta. It's not New York. You got to go to New Jersey. You can stay in Manhattan, but getting out there, it's a trip.
I took the train last time, and it was actually not that bad.
Yeah,
I stayed in Manhattan, and I took the train over, and you have to connect once, but it takes you right to the stadium.
A lot of Giants and Jets fans do that.
Yeah,
takes you right there. Again, the Dallas Cowboys don't play in Dallas. It's pretty far outside Dallas, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I know. I'm not that excited about Dallas, to be honest with you, and.
I mean, the stadium is immaculate. It's huge, 100,000 seats. The press box food is glorious. But if you want more than just the game, I know you're going there for the game. I don't know if that's the spot for you. So I would go to Atlanta in terms of convenience, location, things you could do in the city.
Can I give you a different one that's kind of sneaky good, but again comes with that same hassle of actually getting to the game? But New England. October in Boston. I love Boston.
Yeah. But again, a matter of convenience.
I know.
You can't stay in Boston and make that game. I mean,
you can. I've done it.
Yeah.
But you just got to prepare. Someone's got to drive. Because there's really no other way to get there.
They do have charters that run back and forth from downtown Boston there, but again, matter of convenience.
Of all the stadiums I've been to, that's the worst one to actually get into the parking lots.
Oh, it's
do you remember that? There's like one road.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah. I think they should just pick up one of these games and move it to London.
Munich.
The Bears are going to end up being the team that has to play in Barcelona, though, or something, or Madrid.
I'm in.
Weren't the Dolphins the other team that got Spain? Why isn't that game in Spain? Because the Bears don't want to give up a home game, probably. We have to wait 4 years for that. Yeah. All right. Well, the Bears did get a Sunday night game. They got a Monday night game. They got a Thursday night game. They're all in the first 7 weeks of the season. And then it's all noon the rest of the way.
Can the last one be flexed? Do they even flex the last one? I don't know.
No, they do if there's something to play for, but I don't think the Bears or Vikings are gonna play. It's not
gonna do it.
You could have like what if the Jets and Bears are both surprising? And Zach Wilson and Justin Fields are. I don't know what the Sunday night game is off the top of my head on November 27th, but if those teams are surprising, it's two big markets. Like that could be a candidate.
Yeah. It's a quarterback league.
Yeah. So let's start out there. All right. We are out of here. Hope everybody enjoys the weekend. It's a nice day. We've done a lot of complaining about the weather. You know where I'm going to be in a couple hours.
Outside?
floating on some body of water.
Oh, good for you.
You better believe it.
Yeah, more baseball to coach tonight.
Yeah. Well, we'll be back on the baseball field tomorrow. Today, there's going to be water and a beverage. And hopefully some good food.
What's your choice?
Whatever's in the fridge that I don't know right now. I have to stop at the store. You know, some type of light, like a Corona.
Okay.
In this heat.
I have in my fridge currently Modelo's.
Yes.
New
perfect.
summer shandy lemonades.
I don't like those.
One or two, you're okay. It's not bad.
Wait. The summer shandy lemonades or the 312 lemonade thing? The 312.
Oh, 312 lemonade. Sorry. No.
That's what you're thinking?
No, I got the summer shandy ones. No, wait. No, I got the 312 ones. Sorry.
So
Yes.
the 312 shandy thing that they
312,
came up. I don't like that.
Yeah, no, I like it. I do.
Okay.
Knock on wood if you're with me.
No, nobody's with you, John.
Anyway, who cares?
That's the one I meant to push.
Babo.
I should probably remove the John Gruden drops from the soundboard.
It's off season. You get time for that.
Yeah. All right. Everybody enjoy the weekend. Appreciate everybody watching. We'll be back next week with another episode. OTAs. Tuesday at House Hall. Well, really 3 days next week, but we get to be there Tuesday. So follow us on Twitter. What's up?
John Kelly, I am not horrible at golf.
Adam John, you look like you'd be horrible at golf. What does that mean?
I don't know. I'm wearing a golf polo, I think.
I would love to be on a golf course today, too.
Yes.
Yeah. That's hilarious. I don't even know what that means, but for some reason that comment made me laugh.
Thanks.
It's awesome. No, Johnson can play. We got to get on a golf course. We should have a Hoge Jahns golf outing is what we should do.
Best idea today.
It's a great idea. The execution of that sounds like I have no time to pull that off.
Yeah. Kent played the music like an hour ago now, but
I
the
know.
funny thing is there's no other medium. Maybe Dan Wiederer could play with us.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Fishbane's a no. Pat Finley is a huge no.
Pat's the guy that extends the round by at least 30 minutes alone just because he's
or
Where's our friend Patrick Finley?
somewhere in the tall grass looking for his ball.
yeah.
Like we played at the most wide open Bourbonnais course you could find. The guy lost like 10 balls.
Yeah. And
All
rented
right.
clubs.
It's true. Follow us on Twitter. Please rate and review the pod. Hit that subscribe button, the like button. We thank you very much. We'll talk to you next week.
See ya.